In a world drowning in fake empowerment and delusion, most women have no idea why the men they desire never choose them. Today, I'm going to expose the raw, uncomfortable truth about how powerful men filter, select, and ruthlessly discard women, and how a select few master the art of being chosen. Ignore this at your own risk. Forget the fairy tales, forget the lies sold by modern culture. This isn't about love, butterflies, or fate. This is about power, survival, and the brutal game of value exchange between men and women. Today, I will reveal how high-value men of power, wealth, and dominance, secretly and ruthlessly choose the women worthy of standing beside them while discarding the rest without mercy. Watch closely, because ignorance here comes with a heavy price. They don't tell you this, but the truth is, men who possess real power, men who move nations, men who build empires, they don't choose women the way ordinary men do. No, their filter is cold, calculating, and ruthless. It's not about pretty faces, perfect curves, or sweet smiles. Those are merely the entry tickets, temporary, replaceable. What these men are searching for runs far deeper, something most women don't even realize is being evaluated. Imagine a man who's spent the last decade clawing his way to the top. He's fought through betrayal, competition, sleepless nights, endless battles against rivals, the market, the world. His entire existence is about protecting one thing. Political power or a financial fortress, it doesn't matter. The principle is the same. Protect the kingdom at all costs. Now ask yourself, what kind of woman would a man like that let inside his gates? A woman who becomes a liability? Who brings emotional chaos, public embarrassment, or scandal? Of course not. The idea alone is laughable. His choice must be strategic, precise. There's this story I heard, not from the tabloids, not from gossip, but from someone who lived it. A billionaire tech mogul, let's call him Daniel. Daniel built his fortune from nothing. First company failed, second one barely survived, third exploded. Now Daniel's face is on magazine covers. His name whispers through boardrooms. His net worth feeds entire cities. Years ago, before the fame, Daniel dated a woman who was everything society celebrates. Drop dead gorgeous, influencer status, millions of followers, endless streams of attention. But within 6 months, Daniel walked away. Quietly, no drama, no fights, just vanished. When asked why, he said 10 words that every high-value man understands. Her loyalty was for the highest bidder, not for me. What did he mean? Simple. He noticed how she responded when other powerful men entered the room. A subtle shift, the glance that lingered a second too long, the way her laughter became just a little sweeter, a little louder when someone higher on the social ladder walked by. Daniel caught it. Once, twice, by the third time, it was over. Because for men like him, the question is always the same. Can I trust you when no one is watching? If the answer is no, the door closes permanently. It's not just about loyalty to him as a person, it's about loyalty to the mission, to the empire, to the legacy. If her presence introduces risk, if her behavior even quietly threatens his reputation, ability, or peace, she becomes a threat, not a partner. See, most people think men of power want women who are just obedient, submissive, or beautiful. That's a child's understanding. What they truly want is a woman who amplifies power, not drains it. Someone whose presence strengthens the walls, not cracks them. Another example. A friend of mine, an investor in Dubai, told me this story over dinner. He met a woman who was poised, elegant, and stunning. On paper, perfect. But during a private yacht event, she couldn't help but live stream herself. Tags, locations, followers, look at me, look where I am, look who I'm with. Within minutes, photos of people at that private event started circulating. Executives, foreign dignitaries, people who valued discretion above all else. Business deals worth hundreds of millions were jeopardized because of one woman's thirst for online attention. Guess what happened next? She was gone. Just like that. Blocked. Removed. Not just by him, but by every man in that circle. She never got an invite again. This is the ruthless filter of value. Men of power are always scanning, are you an asset or a liability? And most don't even realize when they're being tested. It's in the way she talks about others. Is she gossiping? It's in the way she handles small secrets. Is she share them for validation? It's in how she responds to discipline. Does she rebel, complain, or does she adapt? Because the truth is, if a man has fought wars to build his castle, he has no room for a woman who might accidentally set it on fire. There's a brutal law written deep into human nature, whether we like it or not. What is easily available holds no value. It's the same principle that drives every marketplace, every negotiation, every relationship. Scarcity creates desire. Abundance kills it. You've seen this play out everywhere. Think about it. The limited edition car, people line up for it. The exclusive club with a 6-month waiting list, everyone's desperate to get in. But the restaurant that always has empty tables, nobody's rushing through the door. Human psychology, it's wired this way. If something is too accessible, too easy, or too common, the mind automatically assumes it must not be valuable. And the same ruthless rule applies brutally when it comes to how powerful men select women. Men who have mastered power don't chase, they don't beg, they don't fawn over what's thrown at them. Why? Because their entire life is a constant battle for things that are rare. Rare deals, rare information, rare alliances. So naturally, when it comes to women, the same standard applies. Let me paint you a picture. There's this girl, her name doesn't matter, but everyone in the city knows her. Stunning, magnetic, her face floods every social feed. You scroll, she's there. Someone's party, she's there. Some guy's yacht, she's there again. Always visible, always reachable, always available. And yet, the very men she tries to attract never choose her. Oh, sure, they invite her to parties, maybe a weekend trip, a few expensive dinners, but commitment, real investment, never happens. Because in the mind of a high value man, the calculation is instant. If everyone has access, how valuable can it be? Now contrast that with another type of woman. You don't see her everywhere. No constant updates. No desperate validation seeking. She's selective. She's intentional. She controls her presence like a master chess player controls the board. You meet her, she's polite, warm, but reserved. She's not quick to offer her attention. She doesn't rush to reply. Her energy says, "You're not the prize, I am." And guess what? That energy triggers something primal in every man, especially those used to having everything. For once, something they can't easily own, can't easily conquer. And suddenly, they must have it. It's the same reason the most expensive diamonds in the world aren't the biggest. They're the rarest. A friend once told me this story about a top 1% private wealth manager for ultra high net worth clients. His words stuck with me. He said, "The woman I married, you couldn't even find her on social media. I met her through a friend. She was elegant, present, but mysterious. I realized no one else had access to her. She wasn't trying to be seen. And because of that, she stood out more than anyone else in the room." That's the law of scarcity. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding supply and demand. When you flood the market with your presence, when you give everyone access to your energy, your attention, your time, you become ordinary. But when you master restraint, when you become comfortable being unseen, when your validation comes from within, not from likes, views, comments, or constant male attention, that's when the tables flip. Suddenly, powerful men start noticing, not because you're loud, not because you're everywhere, but precisely because you're not. It's the silence, the absence, the unknown. That's where the obsession grows. There's a reason luxury brands don't go on sale. There's a reason you never see ads for private islands. Some things don't need to scream for attention. Their rarity speaks louder than any promotion ever could. And the women who understand this, they control the game. There's something that men of power understand better than anyone else. The most dangerous mistake is letting the wrong person too close. See, it's not the enemies outside the gates that destroy empires. It's the chaos that slips in through the front door, wearing a smile, pretending to be an ally, pretending to be love. When powerful men choose women, they are not simply choosing beauty, charm, or excitement. No, the decision is far colder than that. It's an evaluation. It's a risk assessment. A simple, brutal question. Is this woman a stabilizer or a destabilizer? You'd be surprised how fast they figure it out, because it's not the grand, obvious things that give someone away. It's the small cracks, the subtle patterns that scream louder than words. A friend of mine, let's call him Marcus. Marcus is a venture capitalist, multi-business owner, a man who commands rooms without raising his voice. Years ago, he started seeing a woman who, on the surface, seemed flawless, beautiful, sharp, confident, the kind that walks into a restaurant and the entire place shifts. For the first few weeks, it was perfect. Dinners, laughter, chemistry, but then small things. Little comments laced with poison. Why didn't you answer earlier? Why did you like her photo? You're probably with someone else, aren't you? At first, he brushed it off. Typical emotions, maybe insecurity. But then the storm started getting louder. Silent treatments over imagined offenses, passive-aggressive remarks at private events, a subtle scene at a gala that left everyone whispering. And that's when Marcus told me, the moment I realized her chaos was bigger than her beauty, she became invisible to me. That's how fast it flips. Because a man who's spent his life building will never allow someone who specializes in destroying to stand beside him. It's not just about emotional volatility either. It's about discernment. Is she reckless with her words? Does she gossip? Expose private matters to her friends? Share screenshots? Vent on social media? Every word she lets slip is a potential crack in the walls he's built. Another man I know, a CEO of a luxury brand, shared this once. He had been dating a woman who, frankly, had it all on the surface. But during a private retreat, surrounded by billionaires, politicians, foreign investors, she started posting photos. Nothing explicit, just small, harmless pictures. She thought, a wine glass here, a private jet there, a group dinner with blurred faces in the background. Harmless until someone matched the location, until speculation started online, until one of the investors, a married man, was called by his wife asking why his car was tagged in a stranger's story. One post, a tiny crack, nearly cost a $400 million 0-cents deal. Guess what happened to her? Gone. No second chances. Not just from him, but from every man in that network, because once you're labeled as chaos, as unpredictable, as dangerous, doors close quietly forever. See, men who have built something, they don't tolerate liabilities. Their circle is tight, trust is currency, reputation is gold, and anyone, even the most beautiful woman alive, who threatens that, whether knowingly or accidentally, it's removed, no discussion, no explanation. It shows up in small tests. How does she react when denied? Does she throw a tantrum or stay composed? How does she speak about the people from her past? Does she belittle her exes or speak with maturity? Is her presence calming, or does it feel like sitting on a ticking bomb waiting for the next explosion? Because make no mistake, the moment a man realizes that a woman's emotional instability, her lack of loyalty, her thirst for attention outweighs her beauty, her charm, her potential, she becomes a threat to everything he's built. There's a truth that almost nobody talks about, not openly at least. Behind every so-called romantic relationship, behind every story of love, loyalty, and commitment, there's an unspoken contract, power exchange. You might not like it. Society might try to dress it up in flowery words, but whether people admit it or not, it's there. Men of power, real power, know this better than anyone. They don't pick women based on just attraction or personality. No, they operate on an entirely different level of understanding. They view relationships the same way they view business deals, political alliances, and partnerships. So, David, cold, calculated, strategic. The question is never just, do I like her? It's, what does she bring to my empire and what does she cost me? See, when a man holds power, financial, social, physical, intellectual, he isn't looking for someone to compete with him. He's not looking for chaos, resistance, or someone constantly testing his boundaries. He's looking for a woman who understands the game, who understands that her role isn't about dominance, it's about influence, subtle, intelligent, feminine influence. And no, submission isn't weakness. Not in this context. Weak women submit out of desperation, out of fear, out of need. But the rare women, the truly high value ones, they submit by choice, as a strategy, as a form of power itself. A man provides structure, protection, resources, security, access to his world, but that isn't free. The price? Loyalty, respect, peace, femininity that nurtures his masculine order, not one that tries to dismantle it. I remember a conversation sitting across from a man who controls industries. Multi-billion-dollar deals are his morning coffee. He leaned back, smiled, and said, I don't need another CEO. I don't need someone trying to match me in dominance. I need someone who can do what I can't, soften the world. Maintain the peace I fight to protect. I run the external battles. She runs the internal harmony. That's the exchange. It's not about control. It's not about being lesser. It's about complementary power. He protects, she preserves. She conquers the outside world. She cultivates the inside world. And the women who don't understand this, they don't last in his world. The ones who think submission is slavery, who confuse feminine influence with weakness, they find themselves locked out of the very doors they dream of entering. So, as men like this, they are impressed by loudness, by rebellion, or by constant demands for equality in the wrong places. They are impressed by self-mastery, by emotional intelligence, by a woman who knows when to speak, when to listen, and when her silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. This is the unwritten law, the invisible contract that governs every power couple you admire but never truly understand. The truth no one wants to admit, but everyone lives by. Most people, they all go through life completely unaware that this game is even being played. Blind, naive, operating under this sweet little illusion that relationships are built purely on love, on feelings, on coincidence. But the truth? The real truth is far colder, far sharper. It's a brutal marketplace, a ruthless exchange of value. And whether you acknowledge it or not, the rules apply to you, to me, to everyone. The reality is, being beautiful isn't enough. Being fun isn't enough. Being smart, not even close. Because men who hold real power, men who build legacies, empires, and dynasties, don't select partners based on surface level traits. They choose with precision, with ruthless clarity, the same way they choose investments, the same way they choose alliances, the same way they cut out anything or anyone that threatens the structure they've spent years, sometimes decades constructing. See, the mistake most women make and let's be honest, it's a deadly one, is assuming that a man's affection is the same as his commitment. It isn't. Affection is cheap. Commitment, that's expensive. Commitment is a transaction, a contract. And that contract isn't written in ink. It's written in value, in what you represent to him. He asks himself, does her presence stabilize my world or does it threaten it? Does her energy bring me peace or introduce chaos? Is she an amplifier of my power or a slow poison to it? And the evaluation, it never stops. It's not a one-time check. It's constant, ongoing. A man who has spent his entire life fighting the world, fighting competitors, markets, enemies, time, does not let someone inside his gates who carries even the faintest hint of instability, recklessness, or betrayal. It's not personal, it's survival. And the most painful truth, most won't even realize when the door quietly closes. No fight, no announcement, no confrontation, just silence. Access revoked, replaced, forgotten, you see? In this game, women who misunderstand their value often price themselves out of the very life they crave. They chase attention, thinking it's currency. They drown themselves in validation, not realizing that every ounce of public exposure, every desperate cry for relevance, quietly decreases their worth in the eyes of the very men they hope to attract. But the women who understand the game, who move in silence, who master restraint, loyalty, emotional control, they become rare. Rare, and therefore priceless. The ones who don't demand power, but instead align themselves with it. The ones whose presence doesn't disrupt, but strengthens. The women who know how to be both soft and strategic, both nurturing and disciplined. It's a dark truth, isn't it? But whether you choose to accept it or not, it makes no difference. The rules remain the same. The game continues. The gatekeepers are always watching, always evaluating, always deciding who gets in and who doesn't.